So how's it looking series 4 then?
Pretty good, I think.
I've seen a teaser clip,
Yeah.
sort of on a viaduct, and that looks.
Oh yes, that was
dramatic.
good. Collingsworth Viaduct. That was a 2 helicopter day.
Oh, was it?
So that was very exciting.
That looked quite ambitious to me. So
yeah.
Have we got a few of those sort of larger setup pieces, or?
I think that was probably the largest in terms of vehicles and helicopters and stuff. But we had another sort of very dramatic one on top of Ilkley Moor.
Oh wow!
With sort of 70-odd mile-an-hour winds. Everyone looks like they're surfing. So yeah, and it's the first time we've done original stories, because there are various of Peter's novels that don't have the Annie Banks character in, and none of them that have the Helen Morton character. So with Peter's blessing, we wrote our own, and Peter Robinson's been involved in every sort of bit of the storyboarding for everything, and he signs off on them, and then we're up and running. So he's still very much involved, because we certainly don't want to do it without him. So that's been great, and last year was the first time that the 2 girls and me had worked as a threesome, if you like. And, so we found our feet a bit more this year, and yeah, it's been great, and we think we've got enough of the sort of morally grey areas. Peter always, there's no out and out baddies really in most of his stories, and it's
the interesting part.
Yeah,
of it, isn't it? Really,
it is, and it's almost in a way the sort of mundanely ugly side of murder, that it could happen to anyone, and people just find themselves embroiled in situations that they never thought would go as far as they have.
And you suspect that's close
to
the
real
real
world,
isn't it? Where people,
yes,
for whatever reason, get caught up in something.
Yeah.
And then they lose control of it, don't they?
Exactly. And it's a sort of, then becomes a sort of survival instinct. And often you as I say, Banks certainly has sympathy for a lot of the people how
is
they
he
found
still like that?
themselves in
Because that's the main tenet about his character, isn't it? That he has a real empathy.
There's an understanding.
It's quite in a weird way sometimes, I find. But
how
do you find playing that?
Well, yes, I mean, because you'd go, well, yeah, in that situation, you probably would, if you're doing it for the right reasons. If it's to defend other family members, for example, and then there are other elements in it that are just downright bad guys that you want rid of. One that we're touching on, like some of these loan shark people who charge 1,000% interest, or you can wipe off your debt if you do this for me.
Well, I like that story.
Yeah, so you really want to get to that guy who didn't actually do the crime, but
yes, yeah,
the knock-on effect, the sort of domino effect.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Punishing hurting the little people. And
I saw a line in one of the synopses that Banks' mother dies.
Yes, that's it. That's in the first 2, which is terribly sad, because we see her in that episode on Banks's birthday and giving him a present, and then there's she takes a stroke very quickly, and sort of no time to prepare for it. And
what a conjunction of events. So
exactly.
On his birthday then? Oh,
sure, yeah, it's like the next day. And left with his dad, who, the gorgeous Keith Barron, who's they've never really seen eye to eye. His dad was very much on the side of Arthur Scargill, and saw the police as the fascist arm of Margaret Thatcher's army. So when his son sort of went off and joined the police, there's always been a fractured relationship ever since then, and they favoured their other son a lot more, Roy, who of course died in a previous series. So Banks and his father are sort of thrown together due to terribly sad circumstances, and you see that relationship develop over the 6 episodes as well.
Oh, so that's interesting.
So it's another
so
nice.
Are we getting
nice
closer and
closer
to what Banks is really like? Cause he's
peeling away a few more layers. Yeah, when we started the pilot, and certainly with the first series, we just concentrated with him doing the job that he does, and we've stripped away more layers since then. And of course, with that as well, where we left the last series was him telling Annie that he loved her, but that he needed time to think about how much emphasis to put on the team, and she said she wouldn't wait forever, and sure enough, because she has this child now, she's sort of gone back to the father of that child and trying to forge a relationship there. So that's very difficult for him to deal with, and to pretend it doesn't affect him when it clearly does, and that builds up as well over the 6 episodes.
There's a lot more for you to get your teeth into,
yeah,
isn't there?
It's lovely.
Do you find him a more complex character now, or is he easier to play for you? How do you?
I think he always was as complex as you see him, but now you're getting to see the reasons why. Mm-hmm. If that's correct English, can you say the reasons why? Well, yes. The reasons are. The reasons are. So yes, you're getting to see all the behind-the-scenes things, if you like, I suppose, that make him tick. So no, it's nice to reward the audience with what they're familiar with, and then to hopefully give them something new that they'll like as well.
Is he one of the more challenging characters you've played?
I think so. As it goes on, and you are revealing more about him, but keeping that, I think he's a great man manager of his team, if you forgive the pun with the 2 ladies involved. So that's still there. And
how's that relationship work in this series? Is it?
Well,
it's probably settled a little, has it?
It has settled a little, but then there's more disruption coming in Helen's life, Caroline's character, and she's very private, so that takes a lot of coaxing out. So he has the worry of that, and the pain of seeing, Annie doing the best she can for her daughter, which means that she's moving closer to someone that isn't Banks, basically.
Yeah.
So that's very painful. And
do you feel you have a lot in common with Banks, or do you see him as a completely separate entity to you?
No, professionally wise, I think we do our ultimate. Personally wise, we're very different. I don't know if we get on personally wise. He doesn't reveal an awful lot. But
you're far too happy as well, probably.
Exactly. But he's being forced into a situation by the end of the series where he's, I think because of his dad, he's starting to look at his own future. His dad is now sort of all alone, and all he has is his son, and Banks is thinking, well, that could be his future as well. It could just be the job and looking after his dad, and is that going to be enough? So, and I'll be 50 next year, so Banks must be of a similar age.
I was looking at your background and I was just reminding myself, all the great stuff you've done, and just how quickly your career got going after drama school. It seemed like you were just straight into it. I mean, is it big luck, good management? I mean, you've
both of it. I mean, it's always, there's always a luck element in there, and but what's been so delightful about it for me is mixing the mediums and all the different parts, and kind of avoiding being pigeonholed. Yeah. I mean, there were the 2 massive Sunday night series. But one involved giraffes. So So that was very
It
different.
would still be working Wild at Heart. I really believe that. But yeah,
Yeah.
And I saw you in Trolleyed as well. I mean, that's
Yes, that was
then
lovely.
you floated back into comedy. I mean,
Exactly.
because a lot of people still think of you as a comedy actor who's doing
Yep.
a
Yeah.
serious role.
Indeed.
Would you like to do more comedy?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hi.
Last question. Yeah, we're there now. We're there now.
Yes, and hopefully that will go again.
Yeah, I
because,
thought that's got better and better.
I
Actually.
mean, and it did the best figures ever, and it's just a delight to work with that cast. I mean, I was a big fan of the show to begin with.
Well, yeah.
So Jason Watkins, I'm just an enormous fan.
Yeah, he's great.
And to see his Christopher.
Yeah, that was stunning.
What's
Christopher
Jeffries, yes,
Yeah,
and it's
God,
Jenkins. Then. But that was a stunning piece of work.
Yeah. And so, anything else happening with you? Any other projects that you're looking at?
No, looking at some theatre as well. It's been
Oh.
It's been 2 years since I did any of that. And my dear friend Sean Prendergast, who's a writer and actor, we're working on something at the moment, and hopefully this time next year we'll be able to do that up in Newcastle.
Great.
So yeah.
I mean, the one thing I don't think you've done is a period drama.
No, not proper period. Well, I've done
And it
sort
seems
of
to be, it's
modern
everywhere
period.
now, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
I'd be disappointed if I didn't see you in one in the next few years.
Well, there we go. I shall make it my
Wait,